All right, good morning, everyone. So it's Saturday morning. It's the first day of classes for January for my big round of dance classes. I have 8 dance classes today, so that's a lot. So one of the things that I'm trying to make a goal for this year is to really be early for everything, because it just alleviates so much stress on me. If I run late at all, I am through the roof with stress in my body. They don't coincide very well. So I am right now just kind of tidying everything up. I'm really trying to make sure that my spaces are completely tidy. It helps me so much mentally and physically, and if I can come back to a clean room, oh my gosh, that is the best gift on earth, because then I can just launch into another project and I don't feel like there's anything for me to catch up on. I hate catch up work, absolutely hate it. So that's probably why I'm a horrible secretary. I hate like going back through and doing detailed work. Just even thinking about it makes me get the heebie-jeebies. So anyway, so I'm cleaning right now. I wanted to show you guys kind of the space that I dance in, and then it's really helpful for me to have a mirror, and unfortunately my home studio I do not have a mirror right now. So when I'm working out new choreography pieces or something like that, I like to have a space where there's a giant mirror in front of me and I can actually see everything that I'm doing. Angles are extremely important when you're dancing, so you have to be able to see everything. So anyway, this is the state of chaos right now, and from chaos will come order. It really isn't too bad right now. There's just a couple of things. And yeah, so I will see you guys in just a little bit. This, in case you're wondering why I have a black tarp thing in my room, this is my blackout curtain. Oh my gosh, it's the best thing ever. I can't sleep without this now. I used to be able to, I used to be one of those people who would sleep with like a million lights on, and then I really, I don't remember what made me do it. Oh, I was sick one day and I was like, I really want everything dark, so I went and hung up a really thick black curtain, and it was totally pitch dark and I slept so well. And then I tried to sleep without it the next day, and I was like, you know what, that really helped me sleep well. And I can't sleep with an eye cover on because I feel like I'm gonna get smothered. I just, for some reason, I can't have anything on my face. People swear by those and I can't do it, and they always slip off anyway, so I can't wear those. But I just got this at the dollar store for like, I don't know. I actually bought this as a backdrop for some projects that I was going to do, which I'll still use it as that, but I can just toss it up on the window. I'll probably get something a little more permanent, something that's, you know, installed on the top. But for now, this works really well. And I think it's still dark outside. It's 7:30 here, but yep, there it is. I like the morning light, though. I like morning blue light, but I do like it when it's summertime's my favorite, because then you can get up super early and it's still bright out and you can read and it's quiet. But right now, what's going on out there? Oh, it's raining. I love that sound. Okay, so let's go downstairs. So one of the things that I've been really trying to do for my family is just make sure that the dishes and the laundry are at least going before I leave anywhere, because we're always all running about. But if you are learning how to keep house, I would say that's 2 of the most important things, is getting your laundry and your dishes in order. And if you can get yourself on a system where you just say, I'm just going to do 5 minutes of dishes or laundry before you leave anywhere, it makes everything so much easier. Doesn't it, Rachel? Yeah. Oh, okay. Here. What? Oh, I'm not. Every time you wake up, you have that little raccoon thing.
Yes, I'm cleaning up my glasses so I can see, because I can't see a thing without my glasses. Whoa. I'm turning into an old person.
Yeah, okay. So I was going to talk about the metaphysics of dance really quick. I'm on the way to dance, because I think this really happened after I had like I will someday go into a long video about that, maybe even do a little documentary about it. But I had a very major, I always forget whether I should turn here or not. I'll do it. I had a major like mental, basically my mind just snapped. When you reach a certain stress level, which is also one of the reasons why I try to keep my life as just stress-free as possible, just for the sake of my health, you know, and my I don't want to, you know, I don't want to, you know, not, I was going to say kill my friends and family. That sounds terrible. I don't want to cause them pain. So I'm going to keep myself mostly stress-free, and mostly that's just by, you know, being responsible. And, you know, there's always going to be something that will throw you through a loop in life. That's just the nature of life. But learning how to be responsible and how to, you know, have good coping mechanisms and not harmful ones is it's the best. But when I was having my anxiety attacks, I remember I would be teaching dance, and I would be standing there, like you have a ballet bar, and that's where you do your drills. I would be standing at the bar, and I would be like fixing the girls' feet, thinking, why the heck does this matter? Why am I here? Why am I at a job? You know, why does anything matter at all? Why do I bother to eat? Why do I bother to, you know, do anything? And all of a sudden, one time, it just kind of clicked for me that the practical, let's see if I can say this, the practical doing of life is a bigger story. So Jordan Peterson is, I love you, Jordan Peterson, I love you. He's really on to the idea of, I never knew what I was into. I didn't know that I loved metaphysics until he started talking about it. And then I was like, I've thought about this my whole life. You know, and especially more now, but I used to notice things and be like, hey, that's when we do this action, that's a concept. That's not a thing. Like, that's why I'm really, really careful about, like with sexuality, for example. You know, the sexuality is not an action. That's what most people think of it as, but it's not an action. It's a concept. And so when you understand that, you go, whoa, okay, wait a second. I don't want to be, you know, acting out on this concept with just anybody. It's, you know, and that's why people feel so terrible when they, you know, do the casual hookups and stuff like that. You know, you can deaden yourself to it after a while, but you know, then you just feel rotten inside all the time. That's terrible. So the idea of, well, I'll get into all of that later, but the idea of dancing is teaching a little soul energy pod in a body to move with grace and to move with discipline, and that is something that's a concept that you can use throughout the rest of life. I would not be who I am today if I was not a dancer. Okay, when you're a real dancer, you press through pain. I mean, like, especially if you're doing something like point. Like, if you meet a ballerina, they're some of the strongest, toughest people you are ever going to meet, even if you think that they're just skin and bones, because what they put their bodies through in order to achieve perfection. They make no excuses. They go to classes all the time. They are so internally disciplined and so physically disciplined. It's like one of the most amazing sights to behold. That's why when you go to a ballet, you're always filled with awe. It's because these souls have taken their physical form and honed themselves into a precise movement, precise, graceful action that is, it seems like it should be impossible, but they've overcome, you know, all these boundaries and all these, you know, physical obstacles. And dancers are pretty much always in pain. Like, just ask them, you know, dancers are always like, oh yeah, you know, my hip is whatever, or my toe is whatever, and a lot of times it's extreme, but they just press on, you know. And that's why I have such respect for dancers. But anyway, I'm teaching these younger girls, these little tiny souls, how to have some discipline and some grace, and to move through life in that way. And not only do they learn how to move their bodies, but they're learning how to present themselves in front of people. They're learning how to be graceful. I am very, very, very specific about the way I teach dance, because dance, everything is a tool. Everything is neutral. You know, like, swearing is neutral. Alcohol is neutral. Sex is neutral. You know, knives, guns, it's all neutral, okay? It's your energy that dictates whether that thing is good or bad, okay? Sex between two people who have been married for forever and love each other, awesome. You know, a rapist, terrible. You know, using a gun to kill food for your family, sweet. Using a gun to kill someone, not so good. You know, so everything is neutral. Even swearing. Like, if someone is, I'm gonna cuss a little. If someone literally, like all the pedophile stuff that's coming out, those people deserve to be called motherfuckers and son of bitches. I said it. I'm sorry. Those people, they deserve to be cussed out. But if you're just cussing all the time, then it kind of loses its potency. You know what I mean? So you have to know when to use your tools. You know, you don't use a knife to eat soup. You gotta know when to use your tools. But with teaching my dancers, I'm very, very specific about how we use our energy. If you're using your energy to be, attention grabbing in a bad way and pulling all the attention onto you, and not telling a story, you're actually not giving to your audience. And as a performer, that's your main goal. Your goal as a person is to disappear as a personality and to appear as a story or appear as the music. I know when I've done a good dance, if I see that same movement, like if somebody else dances to the same song and I see a similar movement, I'm like, oh, I did it right. Some people feel like they were cheated or like someone took their idea, but for me that just means that I'm in the same whatever you want to call that, synchronicity, universal threads. It just means that I'm on the right track because that particular sound wanted to look like a certain thing, and I did it. So you have to not erase the self. You have to plug the self into something that's greater than you. And that's, like when you read a bad story, or I used to read fan fiction of stories that I love, and you can always tell if it's a bad one when someone's trying to take their personality and project it into the story, and you read it and you're like, this doesn't resonate with me at all. So someone has to take their personality, set it aside, plug into an archetype that's bigger than just you or me or whatever, and it's universal, and then we love the story. So anyway, teaching these young souls to present themselves, to be graceful, and then hopefully they'll be able to take these skills and put them into their into their everyday life. And then also seeing me as a dance teacher, like if you're a coach, a teacher, a dance teacher, your kids will totally look up to you and they will copy you. And that is both terrifying and very honoring. So, if I'm late, if I'm sloppily dressed, if I'm not eating well, if I'm overweight, my girls they will reflect that. If I'm dancing poorly that day, I can always see it in them. So keeping myself pain-free, which means a whole lot of other stuff so that I can dance well, that is important for my dancers. And my life is not about me, and my life is about all the people that I reach. You learn how to take care of yourself, and then you learn how to take care of one other person, 2 other people, 3 other people, and the more people that you can take care of aside from yourself, the more points you get. So anyway, that was really long. I'm really sorry. I'll have to cut that down. Okay. So my car is a little bit crazy right now. It's pretty terrible. Well, I don't know if you can see that. Yeah, that's my car right now. So I'm gonna clean it a little bit, and then I have dots to put down on the floor for the kids to have a seating arrangement. If you're ever dealing with children or with people in general, honestly, the power of the visual is, oh my gosh, it's so extreme. That's why you can't take away the arts and tell me that a round dot on a piece of white paper is art. I'm sorry, you can't tell me that because it's simply not true. The power of the art is, or the power of the visual is just, it's everything. So that's why, like an elementary school teacher, her room, a good elementary school teacher will always be neat as, it will always be neat as a pin, because if your kids walk in and the room is messy, they will assume messy behaviors. They just will. If you walk in and the room is neat, there's a place for them to go. The colors are appealing to the eye. There's order to the room. The whole day goes so much smoother. And that's why, like, good moms are sticklers about keeping things clean. That's why good teachers are sticklers about keeping things clean. And if you are, someone who's a creator, I urge you, gently to try to keep your spaces as clean as possible, as I tidy, because it really, really does help. I mean, it's incredible, the power of cleanliness. So, yeah, so I'm going to clean some stuff, and then we are going to get ready to kick this day. So this is the beautiful space in which I am able to teach in. I am so very, 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 very blessed to have this space. I just finished teaching 6 classes, and I got 2 more this evening. 2 more classes, and then I'm going to do some choreography stuff for my own. Yeah, I'm gonna be tuckered, but it's all worth it. Okay, so after all of that, essentially is very tired, and I'm going to go get a salad. So, I'm going to be toast tomorrow. But, there are some things that are worth being toast for. Alright, so, let's go get a salad. Alrighty, food haul. Okay, so I love food that doesn't hurt. Okay, so salted almond milk from Lily's. Mwah, thank you, Lily's. And they keep running out of my favorite drink. That's not okay. But I'll settle for this one. They have this like mojito one that's lime and lime and coconut. It's so good, but they keep running out of it. Probably because somebody else discovered it and is robbing me. Anyway, for a while I was really into these sweet potato chips too, and someone kept taking them all. I was so peeved. I would go into the store and I'd be like, oh, you know, like I'd skip in, and then I would go over to get my chips, and then I'd be like, what? Because they would be all gone. Like I'm not just talking about like, you know, like a while ago. Whoa, it was like gone, and it was every day for about, I felt like a 2-week thing. Anyway, so okay, I've got my salad. And I have a little ritual now where I just sit in the car. Because the car, honestly, the car is a sacred place. Let's just say that. Because it's quiet, you're away from pretty much everybody. And, you know, you can just kind of sit with your own thoughts, or, you know, if you need to, you really try not to catch up on, like, office work when I'm eating, because office work and me just we don't get along very well. I'm getting better at it, but I just small tedious tasks that I don't like, I'm really bad at. Like I love like photo editing and film editing is more fun than photo editing for some reason. I think it's because the things move, like the pieces move, and photo editing it's very stagnant, and I love any kind of motion. I feel like a little boy a lot of times in that way. It's so funny. I wasn't really around a ton of boys when I was growing up, but whenever there were boys around, I was more in sync with them than I was with the girls, because I like to move so much. I would not consider myself, I'm athletic in a dancer kind of way. Like I was not like in PE. I was always the girl who tried really hard. I have to laugh when I think about it. I tried so hard to be good at dodgeball. I was so upset at myself because, you know, girls, we got wimpy arms. It's just the way it is. So it's like, you know, the boys are just able to pummel you, and you're just like, I remember I would like just oh, it must have looked so pathetic. And I could not play badminton. I do not understand badminton. Like I just didn't get the birdie thing. Tennis is okay, but badminton is just, I don't know. Anyway, I don't know why I was talking about that. But, oh yeah, salad. Sorry, I was going to show you this. So, oh, I should have mixed it up. Oh, well, sorry. So, I normally get now a little bit of tuna, a little bit of cranberry and turkey, and broccoli slaw, and what else do I put in there? Quinoa and all kinds of different greens. And then I just try to eat it slowly. And then, because I've really learned that chewing your food is incredibly important for digestion purposes, because I used to eat salads all the time and they really didn't sit well with me. And then I realized it's just because I wolf my food. I was such a wolfer. When we were younger, food was kind of, it was feast or famine a lot of the time. So I had that mentality for forever, and it's taken me literally probably 4 years to get over that. Which, I mean, it's so if you're, if you ever have kids come into your home who have been who've been deprived of food, or not, like just what do you call that? I can't think of the word. Necessities. If they've been deprived of necessities, they will probably have little tics that don't make sense to you. I mean, like the classic thing is, like from a long time ago, like, the child putting stashing the bread or stashing like the food because they're afraid they won't get enough, or, taking little things or whatever. And you have to meet them where they are with that, because it's a deeply embedded thing that even goes beyond just what they're thinking. It's part of your, it's a part of your psyche at that point. So, but yeah, so I'll mix this up. I'll eat it. I've become, I have to listen to Louder with Crowder while I eat my salad. I don't know. It's just what I do now. So I'm going to be doing that for a little bit. I got halfway through the last one. I'm not a mug clubber yet. I am sorry, Steven. I'm a cheap mugger. But I will join when I can. So, because I want to support the work that you are doing. You're doing awesome stuff. So I'm going to go ahead and eat my food in solace, and then I will get back to you guys. I love this market. It's so funny because I feel like I live in a small town, because I know everybody who has worked here, because my sister worked here. So I know everybody who works there, and I go there all the time, and people know me by name, and I love it. I just watched a little bit of Crowder on the it was the second pro-life one. Just like 10 minutes of it. So interesting. My sister told me a story the other day. It was, I mean, it's interesting how stuff, you don't know if it, I don't know. Sometimes I'll have have a delayed reaction, or maybe a reaction that I'm not expecting to something. But she told me this story about when she was working here at the market, and she was cleaning out the bathrooms. She walked into the bathroom, and there was toilet paper everywhere in one of the stalls, and she reached down to clean it up, and all of a sudden she got this really sick feeling, and there was just massive amounts of toilet paper, and there was blood, and she just knew that there was a tiny little person in there, and it was one of the after the what is that called? I don't know, the morning after pill or something like that. And she was carrying it out in a plastic bag. And when she told me, she was so upset in her face, and I'm her older sister, so I was like, oh my gosh, I wanted to protect her from that moment, but she was like, I couldn't believe what I was doing. I cannot imagine, and all of a sudden in me, I honestly, I never believed in abortion, but I was kind of numb to it, because it's just, you hear it so much. And then I remember when I saw in a little petri dish on some, it was some news source, but anyway, they showed little, it disturbs me to say it, but they had little tiny arms and little tiny hands, in the petri dish. And you're just thinking, how do people do that, but they don't know. And, I hope one day it'll be just one of those things where people go, I can't believe how backwards we were. But, it's one of those things where, when I hold a baby out of daycare or something, I think, oh my gosh, this baby could have been aborted. This baby could have not been here. And, and I am always surprised when I cry about it or something, but it really does. I guess it just strikes something in me, because I am, I may never be a mother, but every kid that I see is mine. And, Wow, I'm sorry guys, I didn't mean to cry about that, but it's horribly upsetting. So I'm really glad that Steven is doing that and is working to do that. And then, you know, of course there's, you know, there's all the, you know, the raising the child afterward that people, you know, ignore too. But yeah, so I'm really happy that he's doing that. And it's a very manly thing to do, to defend life. So I'm really happy about that. Oh, so I have, what time is it? 3:46. Okay, so that's my tummy. Oh my gosh. I have about an hour, maybe a little less than that, like 45 minutes. So I'm going to detail clean my car because if there's crumbs in the car, for some reason, it just accrues more junk. I don't know. Anyway, so I'm just going to detail clean it. Then I'm going to run off to my lesson. And, oh, did I grab my charger? Yeah, I did. Okay. So then I'll run off to my lesson. I have my lesson here. And then, I think my sister and I are going to watch a movie. I think. So, yeah. So this has kind of been the day so far. So this might be too long and I don't know. But it's mostly just, like I say, these things are mostly for me because that way I can go back and I have a log of what I did. You know, I can see what I was thinking about, what things, you know, I don't agree with on myself with anymore. Because I think it's funny. Sometimes I'll go back and go, I think I've changed my position on that. Yeah, so anyway, this has been a Saturday. Pretty typical. And yeah, so I'll film a few more things tonight if anything interesting happens. But thank you for watching and I will see you.
Oh man!
It's the end of the day, and our makeup has worn off.
I feel like I reapply my makeup like 20 times.
Oh, not me. I'm a one-time girl.
I literally reapply between almost every client, and then I still look bad.
Wow, no, you don't ever look bad. Honey. By the end of the day, I look like I've been beat up. I went to my dance lesson. I went to my dance lesson. My Indian girl's house, and the mom was like, "You look weak." I was like, thanks. She was like, you look very weak. Are you recovering from something? Like, well, I was sick for 2 weeks. She's like, you need, and she's like, get Miss Ashley some water. I'm like, oh my gosh. Anyway, I am filming this. I'm here for Rachel's not moral support. Yeah, I guess more healthy moral support. She wanted someone to help her make a healthy snack. I don't know.
Film everything.
Because this whole day has been filmed. I've been talking
Is it a day in the life?
It is a day in the life.
Oh, I see.
And it's been January, and then I want to, do one in the summer. Oh, you know me. Okay.
Man, see, I want like corn chips. I want like the Blues chips or something.
No.
Why not?
Have the other ones. What are those called? No, what are they called? The ranch chips that I get. What are those called?
Better. It's the same brand. With more. I'll just